America and every other country outside of Canada, I hope that you're taking note right now how corrupt and infiltrated the Canadian government is. Canadians overwhelmingly, over 70% of us, demand an election right now. We have not had a functioning government in Canada since late September, early October because of their corruption. And how humiliating it is for Canadians to have Jagmeet Singh, who is a leader of essentially nothing, to be on CNN today talking about the Trump tariffs as he's this big tough guy. He is the weakest human being in the world who has absolutely no spine. Well, he doesn't represent anybody in this country. He's not government. People don't want him. People hate him here. Yet he's on CNN trying to plead the case for Canada in the most embarrassing, weak fashion. You also have Chrystia Freeland pleading the case for Canada amidst Donald Trump tariffs. Chrystia Freeland is the same woman who put our country in debt over double what they had anticipated. She is the one who froze the bank accounts with a smile on her face of people who were protesting the lockdown measures and protesting the government that is so freaking corrupt. And then we also have Mark Carney, another sign of corruption right here, who is actually Chrystia Freeland's son's godfather. Mark Carney is a man that most people in Canada didn't even know existed up until 3 months ago. Oh, he saved Canada during, the near economic collapse we had back in 2008, the recession. Oh, he saved Canada. No, he didn't. He was the governor for the Bank of Canada at that period of time. Do you want to know who saved Canada during that? It was the Conservative Party who was running the ship at the time. Mark Carney then went on to go be the governor of the Bank of England, where they still are suffering as a result of his policies. Don't believe me? Listen to what their own former prime minister has to say about the guy and the warnings she is issuing to Canadians. Oh yeah, and by the way, Mark Carney, why the hell is he even on CNN pleading a case for Canada anyway? Mark Carney is not a member of parliament. He hasn't even lived here or worked here in over 10 years. He describes himself as European by nationality, not Canadian. This is on video. He holds 3 passports, by the way, and the only reason why he was allowed to run in this election is because right before he announced he was doing so, he bought property in Canada again for the first time in 10 years and divested in all of his other businesses, which you can guarantee he is still very involved in. Oh yeah, and the complete economic disaster, investment disaster that Canada has become was all under Mark Carney's watch, because Mark Carney has been behind the scenes on paper since 2020, advising Justin Trudeau financially. He was just in China last year discussing trade between Canada and China. That's a pretty weird thing for an unelected person to do who has never worked in politics, doesn't even live here, isn't it? So America and every other country, take note of how much these global elitists are panicking. They can't do any of this same media in Canada because most of the outlets here are finally starting to call them out on their BS. So what do? They go on over to the US to try to plead their case because nobody will listen to them here because nobody wants them.